Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Gung Ho Guns here. Today I'm showcasing my favorite build in Throne and Liberty, the Greatsword and Sword and Board combo, the Crusader if you will. This setup is perfect for those who want to break the mold and actually play a tank. You know, the rare 1% everyone's begging to find for the dungeons and raids because, let's be honest, everybody wants to be a DPS hero. But don't worry, you're not just a meat shield. You do a ton of damage. And in PvP, well, let's just say they're going to need a few extra people to take you down. With 3 gap closers, more stuns than a rogue, and an amazing mustache, optional but recommended, you'll be a force to be reckoned with. All right, thanks for joining me, folks. I really appreciate all of you. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible because I know, you guys want to enjoy more of your, weekend. So let's just jump straight into it. If you hit K on your keyboard, it'll pull up something like this, right? And your skills ability. I want you to pay attention to this thing right here. Mine's called PvP Tank. You can name it whatever you want. This is pretty much your main build right here. And then the one right over is your PvE Tank. It just has a couple more additional taunts that we'll go over. But apart from that, you just want to do that. This is your main one. I call it PvP just because for me, it's a little bit easier to understand. Okay, starting off, back in your K in your skills abilities, you want to use for your Q, you want to use the shield one. I just find that it gives you a little bit more of easier way to block things, especially, in PvE and things like that. I prefer it over the one from the Greatsword. The second thing is you want to go to the Guardians, and you want to take this lady right here. Lady Knight Kamarashi. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the lady that you want. She's really easy to get, by the way. It takes like maybe 5 minutes for the quest, so I definitely get her if you plan on being a tank. What she does is, this is kind of like your oh shit button. If you screw up, this is going to save your life. It creates a shield for 50% of max mana, cooldown speed by 40% while shield is up. Summon ends when the shield is removed. This is, like I said, really like a oh shit button. If you screw up on something, this is going to save your life. So make sure that you have her, okay? Next, and again, we're going to try to make this really quick. If you look right here, we're just going to go over all the moves that I'm getting, and then we're going to go over how to use them and things like that. So, and again, feel free to adjust these how it makes sense in your head. My top row is all my damaging abilities, with Da Vinci Courage being like a buff, and the bottom is more like gap closers and defensives. But again, however you want to put it, do go ahead and for it. So the very first one is the Devastating Smash. This is your gap closer. It's a stun ability, and I'll show you guys how to use that here in a minute. The second one is Piercing Strike. This is actually from your board. It is the very first one. It's called Shield Smash, I believe, or Shield Strike. I just morphed it into Piercing Strike. The next one is a Stunning Blade. Then I have Frost Cleaving at number 4. This is your Gaia Cleaving, by the way. I just morphed it into Frost Cleaving, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. The next one is Annihilation Slash, and that's from your Sword and Board over here. And then I have the Da Vinci's Courage. On the bottom, 7 and 8, these are kind of like my second and third gap closers, or pulls, if you will. I have the Chain Hook to pull people to me. It also stuns them. I'll show you guys how to do that. And then I have the Strategic Rush over here as well, because it's kind of like another gap closer to make things a little bit easier. Now, if you don't like using this one, you can use the Precision Dash. Either or will work, but I find that as a melee tank in PvP, or in this build as kind of like a hybrid tank, hybrid DPS, you definitely need 3 gap closers to make sure that you can finish off pretty much anybody. Personally, I prefer the Strategic Rush. The next 3 are your defensives. You have the Immortal Pride, you have the Counter Barrier, and then you have the Stalwart Bastion. And lastly, I have it's the very last one, Devoted Sanctuary. This is your Blood Devotion, by the way. And I'll show you guys how to morph these here in a second. This thing is amazing, especially if you are in a group play. It just makes all your members finish off the entire team pretty easily. But you have to be careful with this, and I'll show you guys how to do that here in a second. For your passives, These are the best ones, in my opinion, that you want to use. You want to use the very top row is from the Greatsword. The bottom is more of your defensive. So let's kind of go to the top. You want to use the very first one is the Robust Constitution. It just increases max health and health regen. You want to use Vital Force because you just get that extra crit chance and damage boost and things like that. This is amazing. Indomitable Armor and the Cold Warrior. Okay, and then on the bottom I have morale boost. I have the Gerard's Patents. I have Impenetrable, and I have the Aegis Shield. In my opinion, these are the best abilities or the passives to use for that. Now let's go over to skill specialization really quick. And you guys can just copy these, and I'll kind of show you why I did that. Starting off with a great sword for the stunning blow over here. I took the cooldown over here, and then I also took this one on top of it, where your next skill damage ability increases the damage by 150%, and I'll show you how we actually use that. This kind of creates that big boost in damage that we're going to be able to take advantage of and easily, kill people. Going right below that to Da Vinci's Code, I prefer these three right here. Damage reduction, this is optional right here. Instant healing, I really like it because it kind of gives me that, health by 200% plus 200 damage recovery. It's amazing. It just kind of gives me that extra self heal right here. It's quite amazing. And then I took the plus 3-second duration increase. Now for Frost Cleaving, as you see right here, I'll take it off really quick. This is what most people do, and they'll actually take attack speed after use increase. This is good too. You can definitely do this. Most people do. I personally prefer Frost Cleaving because I don't like conal attacks. Like without this, I'll show you this here really quick. If you take this off, right, and if you're doing your Gaia Crush, as you see, it is a conal. So you have to time it correctly. Otherwise, they can easily get out of there, and it's a little easier, or it's a little harder, I should say, to control, especially in PvP. Now going with the Devastating Smash, this is kind of how I start most of my fights in PvP. It jumps at 11, 12 feet where you can jump in somebody and you can actually stun them. So we have the chance increased stun, and then we have the stun duration right here as well. These two work really well together. And then for your Devoted Sanctuary or Blood Sanctuary, these are the ones that I get as well. Super, super easy. You can get the last one as well. They all work just fine. And then going with the Sword and Board, like I said, I prefer this right here, where it kind of increases the damage a little bit from the Shield Strike. On the Counter Barrier, I get the Shield Strike cooldown and the damage increase from it as well. For the Chain Hook, I get the range increase because I just think that's amazing, because you can pull people in when they're trying to run from you. For the Annihilation Strike, I get the all three of them pretty much over here. This one, for example, is amazing. If you don't want to get the others, at least get this one. This makes this a 2-hit, so you can do it twice in a row. Okay, and then for the Immortal Pride, I get this one right here, just the extra defense, and that is pretty much it for that. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the kind of like the rotation and what I'm doing and what really works, and I'll show you guys some real-time footage of this. So the very first thing to understand is that when you start the fight, you always want to do Da Vinci's Courage first. This is going to give you that plus 15% attack speed for 12 seconds, and anybody in your group as well within that 15-meter range. After that, I'm going to jump at them with Devastating Smash. Okay, and because that's going to stun them, I'm going to get a free hit in with Piercing Strike. Okay, and then after that Piercing Strike, as you can kind of see, it kind of gives you all of those bonus and passes and things like that. I am going to hit him with a Stunning Blow to stun him one more time, just to kind of get another free hit in. And then I'm going to do a Frost Cleaving into 2 Annihilation Slashes. You should be able to do this full rotation with them still stunned, by the way. And I noticed, I'm actually gonna pull this guy right here. I've noticed that when I started doing this, the more gear that I was getting, let me just kind of pull him over here. The more gear that I was getting, the more damage this was doing. I am pretty confident that once you have all the right pieces that I'm going to recommend, you're going to be able to finish somebody off while they're fully in stun form. So let's start this. So here we go. Stun 1, get the free hit in. Second stun, get the free in, and then pop and pop. As you see right here, I am still leveling, but that amount of damage I was not able to do before. So as you see right here, they are not doing any kind of damage to you, and you are just going to be easily, killing anybody in there. So again, the main principle behind the build is you hit, stun, you control them, and as you're killing them with these moves, okay? After that, what I would like to do, and this is what I suggest doing, is when they start moving, they're going to fight back. You want to start using these defensives in order. Do not just spam them all together. I would like to do, Immortal Pride, then into Counter Barrier, and then into Stalwart Bastion. And obviously, use them when needed. Don't just press them. These are like your lifelines, okay? If they're trying to run away from you, you can pull them back in with Chain Hook, or run up to them with Strategic Rush. I like to do Strategic Rush on people that are trying to cast something, because it's also an interrupt. It's going to interrupt them and kind of push them in that corner and kind of, root them in place for a second where we can get another really good hit in. All right, and lastly, before we finish here, I want you to go into your settings, okay? This is going to save your life here, I promise, guys. If you go into your settings under Gameplay, under Controls, see where it says Attack here? Scroll down and make sure that you have these toggled on, these last four. This is pretty much what I like to do, is the aim skill, lock on current target, snap on targeting on the ground. If you notice, like for example, if I'm trying to hit this guy, and I have like a conal, for example, like this, it's because he's a NPC, but it's gonna make like your attacks that require kind of for you to aim. This is gonna make them a little easier to control, so you're not fighting and then having to kind of move with your mouse where you want it. It's gonna put it at the feet of whatever person that you are targeting. Lastly, if you go into K again one more time into your weapon mastery, this is how you want to do this, okay? For your Greatsword, okay? If you are having trouble with mana, you want to take this up to the mana region right here, and then afterwards take all the bottom roll all the way over. Same thing, we're going to go with the sword. The sword, you want to get the top one first all the way, and then after that we are going to take either the I would prefer the bottom one myself, the collision, or you can do the middle one for the boss one. Personally, you just want to focus on the top one. That's the most important. If you are not struggling, let's go back to Greatsword. If you are not struggling with mana, the bottom row is really where you want to be, because that is going to be tons of damage. And the top one, by the way, is going to be more defensive for PvP. Both of them work really well, so to kind of choose which one fits better for you. All right, really quick, I am on the questlog.gg, and I'll actually link this directly in the description for you. In the skill option, I have the PvE tank as well. You guys can go ahead and use that, and I have all the builds in here for you to actually just kind of copy what I have. But let's go to the PvP one right here. And again, for the equipment, as you see right here, I am using I'm going to be using the Duke Magnus Fury Warblade. The reason for that is there's a really good chance that you're going to apply that stun or shock with the stunning blow. It really correlates well and synergizes really well with your current build. On top of that, I am going to be using the Karnix Netherblade as well. And as you see on the bottom, the traits that I'm going to be going for are the hit, heavy, and the crit damage. The Gloom Guard widget, by the way, and again, just to kind of show you guys where to get this, I'll show you here in a second. The Gloom Guard winged helmet, I'm actually using the majority of the set that I was using for it, honestly, just because it has that melee and range endurance and the max health. And then you can kind of copy all these and see where I'm using them as well, and you can see the stats that I'm using over here. On the side. Feel free to copy this. This is what I'm using. This is what really works right now. And this is kind of like my goal for in the next 2 weeks to kind of make sure that I get all of these. Now, all right, so that is it for the video. And again, really quick before I get out of here, if you go on the co-op dungeons options, majority of the weapons that I'm getting are from the Butcher's Canyon and the Death's Abyss. And some of the other ones are from the floor right here. excuse me, on the Silas Abyss, and things like that. Some of the open dungeons is pretty much where I am getting them. But majority of them, honestly, are from the co-op dungeons for now because they're just super easy to get. For example, that's Abyss. Is you look over here, majority of the items are from there. So I'm just saving all of my purple guy tokens, the dimensional contract, and I'm just using them on this particular one. From the Butcher's Canyon, this is where you get that sword, the Warblade. It's freaking amazing. Anyway. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you guys learned something. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. And then in the comment sections, let me know if you would improve this build, how you would improve it. And I'll definitely test it out. Again, this is version 1. We can build it together and, go from there. I will say one last thing. As I am, leveling, or I just finished leveling, in early access in the first day. I've been playing this for a while. I've been involved in tons of PvP so far. And, it is so strong, man. Not a lot of people can kill me. I'm one of the last ones to die if I die. I'm able to control majority of the players, that are trying to run away or the ranged. I'm able to, if we need to kill something quicker, I'm able to use my blood devotion and we just, jump over and zerg the entire company right there. On top of that, on the PvE side, not a lot of players play, tank or healer. Like 99% of players, I think, are playing the DP, one of the versions of DPS, or they're just playing some sort of PvP. They do not do any of the dungeons or raids, etc. With this build, you can do both, and you're gonna get, geared a lot quicker than most because you can fill that role that a lot of people don't want to play, and it's just so fun to play. So you feel really strong with it. I'm going to stop yapping because I know it's Friday and a lot of you guys want to go out and play. But again, feel free to comment if there's any suggestions you guys would like to add. I will put our Discord in the description as well as this build. Feel free to copy it, try it out on your own, and go from there. Have a great Friday, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.